Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want to cut through the noise and really understand what matters.
Yeah, get the core insights.
Exactly. And today we're doing just that with, well, the latest buzz in artificial intelligence. We've sifted through a whole stack of recent developments. Think cost saving for developers, maybe big shifts in social media ads, data policies too.
Right, so this is basically your rapid intelligence briefing on AI. We've done the homework so you get the key takeaways fast.
Okay, let's jump right in then. First up, Google. They've rolled out something called implicit caching for their Gemini API. Now, for those of us not, coding AI models every day, what's the headline here? What does that mean?
The headline is really potential cost savings. Big ones, potentially, for developers using Google's newest AI models, Gemini 2.5 Pro and 2.5 Flash.
Cost savings. Okay. How does caching help with that?
Well, caching, basically, it's about efficiency. It's like reusing information the AI has already processed, so you don't do the same work over and over.
Ah, got it. So it remembers things it's already dealt with, saves compute time, saves money.
Exactly. And Google's talking about potentially significant savings with this new implicit approach.
How significant are we talking?
They're claiming up to 75% reduction, that's what they say, for what they call repetitive context.
75%. That sounds like a big deal for developers.
Ah.
Those models can be expensive to run, right?
Oh, absolutely. The operational costs can really add up. So, yeah, 75% is a number that gets attention.
Yeah, I remember they had something before called explicit prompt caching. How is this implicit version different? What changed?
Yeah, the key difference is really the automation. The old way, explicit caching, meant developers had to manually, flag the prompts they used a lot, set it up themselves.
Okay.
And apparently that wasn't always smooth sailing. Some Gemini 2.5 Pro users even reported unexpected charges with that system.
Ouch. Okay, so implicit is automatic.
Right, it just happens. If a new request you send shares a common starting sequence, like the beginning part, with requests you've sent before, Google's system is supposed to recognize that automatically and just apply the cost reduction. No manual flagging needed.
That sounds much better, more streamlined. So, like, if I always start my request with analyze this financial report for, that bit might get cached.
That's the idea, precisely. Yeah. Though Google does mention some minimum lengths to trigger it. It's 1,024 tokens for Gemini 2.5 Flash. That's maybe 750 words or so.
Right.
And double that, 2,048 tokens for the 2.5 Pro model.
Okay.
And they also recommend, putting that repetitive stuff right at the beginning of your prompt.
Yeah.
Makes it easier for the system to catch it, maximizes the chance of a cache hit.
Makes sense. Keep the common part up front. Okay, so it sounds good. Potentially cheaper AI development, but you mentioned issues before. Any reason to be cautious this time?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Google hasn't really provided any independent verification of these savings claims. It's just their number for now. So the real test will be, feedback from developers actually using it in the wild. Given the past hiccups with caching claims, a bit of healthy skepticism is probably warranted until we hear more.
Right. Wait and see what the early adopters say. Okay. Let's move on. Another big name, Mark Zuckerberg. And his vision for advertising on meta platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, he's talking about a fully AI-driven ad tool.
Yeah, that's the buzz. The core idea seems to be what they're calling an end-to-end AI ad tool.
End-to-end. So what does that actually mean in practice?
It means businesses would basically just provide their goals like, I want more sales or drive traffic to my website, set a budget.
And the AI does everything else.
That seems to be the pitch. The AI would handle the targeting, the creative, the campaign management, the whole thing.
Wow. Okay. So creating the actual ads too, not just targeted.
That's what he suggested. He mentioned the system generating and testing potentially thousands of different ad variations. Yeah. And he even claimed pretty boldly that Meta's existing AI for targeting already beats human marketers.
Right. I think I heard that. So extending that AI power to the creative side is the next step for them.
Seems logical from their perspective, yeah.
So what are the sort of immediate takeaways here for, say, small businesses or the ad industry itself?
Well, for small businesses, it could potentially lower the barrier to entry for advertising, right? Maybe less need to hire creative agencies or spend ages on initial ad design.
Okay. Could be good for them.
But on the flip side, it could be pretty disruptive for the traditional ad industry, especially those creative agencies that focus on, making the ads.
Yeah, you can see how they might not love this idea.
Definitely potential for some backlash there.
And what about for us, the users, people scrolling through Facebook or Instagram? what might this mean for what we actually see?
That's a good question. One potential concern is just seeing even more AI-generated content, including ads. You hear people talk about AI slop sometimes.
Yeah.
If the system is churning out thousands of variations, does that improve the ad experience or just fill feeds with more, maybe slightly off AI content? Meta's already experimented with AI creating other content.
Right. And there's that whole bigger debate, too, isn't there, about using AI in creative fields, the lawsuits, the open letters from artists?
Exactly. This plugs right into that ongoing ethical discussion.
Okay. Let's switch gears again. The SoundCloud. They've updated their terms of service, and it sounds like it's causing a bit of a stir, especially around AI. What's the key change?
The essential change, spotted by tech ethicist Ed Newton-Rex, is that SoundCloud's updated terms now explicitly say they can use user-uploaded content.
Our music, our podcasts.
Right, to, and I'm quoting here, inform, train, develop, or serve as input to artificial intelligence or machine intelligence technologies or services.
Wow, okay. So basically, anything you upload could be used to train AI models.
That's what it sounds like. So yeah, that indie track you uploaded or that podcast snippet could potentially become part of a data set used to train some AI music generator or voice cloner down the line.
Is there any way out? Can users say, no thanks, don't use my stuff for that, and opt out?
That's the crux of the issue. Currently, there doesn't seem to be a clear, explicit opt-out option presented to users within SoundCloud settings or terms.
No easy checkbox.
Exactly. And that lack of an obvious opt-out is a major point of concern being raised. Now, they do mention a carve-out for content under separate agreements, think major record labels.
Right, the big players probably have their own deals.
Probably. But for the average independent creator, it seems their content might now be fair game for AI training by SoundCloud.
And this isn't happening in a vacuum, is it? It feels like we're hearing more about this kind of thing.
Definitely. It's part of a broader trend. We've seen similar policy updates from platforms like X, formerly Twitter, LinkedIn, even YouTube. They're all clarifying or stating their right to use user data for AI training.
So it's becoming standard practice almost.
It seems to be heading that way as AI development just accelerates like crazy. But it consistently sparks backlash, users raising questions about opt-in versus opt-out, lack of credit, lack of compensation for contributing to these massive training data sets.
Yeah, fundamental questions about data ownership and consent.
Yeah.
Okay. One last quick hit. This one involves potential international ripples. The U.S. Treasury Department is reportedly reviewing an investment by Benchmark, the VC firm.
That's right, Benchmark Capital. They led a big funding round, $75 million, for an AI startup called Manus AI.
Manus AI, I haven't heard of them, but $75 million sounds like they're considered pretty hot.
Yeah, described as a hot AI agent startup. But the investment is now under scrutiny by the U.S. Treasury.
Why? What's the issue?
The review is to see if the investment complies with restrictions put in place in 2023 regarding U.S. investments into certain Chinese companies, particularly in sensitive tech sectors like AI.
Ah, okay. So there's a concern about Chinese connections with Manus AI.
That seems to be the trigger. Even though Manus AI is incorporated in the Cayman Islands, which, is a pretty common setup for companies, including Chinese ones, looking for foreign investment.
Right. That Cayman Island structure isn't unusual.
Not at all. But Benchmark's lawyers are apparently arguing the investment is compliant. Their angle is that Manus is just a wrapper around existing AI models.
A wrapper, meaning?
Meaning they aren't developing their own foundational AI models from scratch. They're just building applications or agents on top of existing tech, like maybe models from OpenAI or Google.
I see. So the argument is they aren't creating the core, potentially sensitive AI tech itself.
That seems to be the gist of their defense. But the investment has still drawn some criticism, notably from Dealey and Asperoff at Founders Fund.
So it's not clear-cut.
Not yet. And Benchmark, Manus, and Treasury haven't commented officially when asked. But it definitely highlights the increasing complexity, the geopolitical dimension of investing in AI right now, especially cross-border deals.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay, so there you have it. A real whirlwind tour, a quick run-through of some pretty significant AI developments making news right now.
Yeah, from potential cost cuts for developers using Gemini to maybe a whole new AI-driven ad world on Meta.
To how platforms like SoundCloud are using our data, and even these complex international investment reviews, it's moving fast.
It really is. These updates just underscore how AI is weaving into so many different areas: tech, business, creativity, even global politics.
Which brings us to our final thought for you listening. Considering these quick summaries we just went through, Google's caching, Meta's ad plans, SoundCloud's policy, the Manus investment, which of these developments strikes you as having the most potential to impact your own work or maybe just your daily life in the near future?
Yeah, and what further questions do these snapshots raise for you about where AI is actually heading? Something to chew on.
Definitely. Thanks for diving deep with us.